This here is the Waverly Varsity Cheerleading Squad. They're here to welcome you to
Morning Times Football Friday!
Well, Dave, it's hard to believe, but we're nearly at the halfway point for the local high school football season.
Even though we've reached the halfway point for most of our teams, the season is not going to get any easier for any of them.
Let's take a look and see how these teams did last week and what they've got on the docket for this weekend.
The Athens Wildcats D is going to have its hands full Friday night when Hughesville comes to town. Last week, Athens traveled to Wellsboro and blanked the Green Hornets 39-0. Wellsboro gained just 116 total yards and coughed up the ball twice. The Athens D will have considerably more trouble penning in Spartans rushers Cody Butler and Ethan Showers, both of whom can run for over 100 yards a game. Quarterback DJ Forsman can throw the ball too. Hughesville is 3-1, having lost only to Lewisburg in Week 3. They beat Troy in Week 2, 35-7.
Coach, what did the Wildcats learn from the loss in Week 3 to Troy that helped you to a victory last week?
Well, I think one big thing we learned from Troy is that we got to play 4 quarters of football. You can't ever relax, and you've got to play at a high level of energy at all times.
And what are the Wildcats keying on this week in practice to get ready for Hughesville?
Well, we're going to see a pretty good football team, and the key for us, I think, is going to be the line of scrimmage. Being able to slow their running game down a little bit. They have 2 real big, tough running backs, and I think our key is going to be the line of scrimmage. Can we play physical, and can we tackle well? That's going to be a big key for us.
Waverly took the opening kickoff Friday night against the visiting Johnson City Wildcats, but JC brought a power run game that was just too much for the Wolverines to handle. Waverly did try to take to the air, and the Zach Cooney to Nick Sensabaugh air attack netted 128 of Waverly's total 202 yards gained. I know you came looking for Waverly highlights, but you've got to respect this run. Jarrell Wisnant ran for nearly 200 of JC's 367 rushing yards on the way to the Wildcats' 31-16 victory. And the Wolverines' defense saw this running all night long. Reggie Williams also ran for 144 yards for the Wildcats. Friday night, the Wolverines have another tall order as they look to stop 3-1 Owego at homecoming. The Indians have fallen only to the Corning Hawks this season, and they're averaging over 300 yards and 31 points per game. The Sayre Redskins are getting ready to board the bus for their 3rd straight road game. Friday night, they'll face the North Penn Panthers, whose only loss this season was to Towanda. Last week, Sayre picked up win number 2 down in South Williamsport when they topped the Mounties 34-7. Joe Yanuzzi had a great night, rushing for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns, not to mention a 78-yard kickoff return for a score.
Joe, in Week 3 at the Canton game, the Redskins' run game was pretty much shut down. Last week you had a breakout night with 3 rushing touchdowns and a special teams touchdown. What did the Redskins do differently to open that up for you?
Well, we came out and we showed that we could pass the ball. And by doing that, they had to play both sides of our game. And it just opened up the middle, and it was there all night. It was great blocking up front. It just made it a lot easier on all of us by passing.
Coach, it's been a streaky year for the Redskins, wins and losses here at the midway point of the season. How do you prepare your team to go on and get some more wins?
I think what we need to do, if we just focus, the biggest thing is not so much the focusing on the fundamentals, but the transferring of the fundamental in the drill to the actual application in the game. And I think this past week, a lot of things that we emphasize in practice, we saw on the field, and we're very encouraged by that. We think we've made a big step this past week.
This was supposed to be the game to see last weekend. The undefeated Tioga Tigers hosted the Candor Indians. Candor had embarrassed defending Section 4 Division 8 champ Groton in Week 2, and now they had the Tigers in their crosshairs. In reality, Tioga controlled this game all night long. They were up 24-0 before the end of the first quarter. QB Harry Hartman launches one to Dylan Shaw. He catches it, but Derek Heyman and Tyler Spires are in there to make sure he doesn't go anywhere with it. Dave Ulrich had 138 yards rushing and 2 TDs before he sat down in the first half with an injury. Matt Stahl had another touchdown catch. And this guy's name keeps popping up. At tailback, number 3, Carter Jackson. He powers his way in for a late game score, and the Tigers were all over the Candor Indians, 38-14. This weekend, Tioga travels to Groton for what's likely going to be their toughest test yet. Last year, the Indians came to town and punished the Tigers in a monsoon, 33-6. You can be sure Tioga is looking to avenge that loss and to put themselves in the driver's seat for this season's D8 title.
The Tigers certainly have their work cut out for them this week, but I believe if they go up to Groton prepared to play 4 quarters of offensive football, and the defenders know their assignments and do their jobs, Tioga is going to bring home the victory. Groton's not going down without a fight, but I do believe they're going down. My prediction, Tigers 16-8.
I agree that Groton will be the toughest test the Tigers have faced thus far this year. I do think there's been some talk comparing the Tioga Kinder game and the Groton Kinder game. I think you can toss that talk out the window because Kinder had 2 top backs for the Groton game, only 1 top back for Tioga. Will that make a big difference? Well, I'm not really sure. One thing I do know is that the Tigers do want some revenge for last year's game when Groton came down and beat the Tigers in Tioga, and I think they're going to get that revenge. My guess, Tigers 24-20.
If you follow Athens high school football, you'll know the names Shiposh and Schlosser have shown up on the football field in the same season more than 1 year. Read about the brother-brother connection when you pick up this Friday's version of the Morning Times Football Friday print edition.
That's it for this week. See you next week.